Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Hebraic Awakening. I am back to talk about my trip to South Africa. And I know I'm taking my time with these videos. Please keep me in prayer. I'm dealing with some health issues, okay? So that's why I'm not uploading, as fast as I would like to. I got a diagnosis. It's not, a deadly disease, but it is a debilitating one. So Yahweh is faithful. He is faithful and He is a healer, and He has given me a plan to bring about healing. Right. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just relieved that I finally found out what is wrong with me. So I've been struggling for a while and now it makes sense. So just keep me in prayer. So I'm going to take my time to make these videos in bite-sized pieces. And as I tackle, my ailment, I'm feeling better. So today is a really good day. It's a Shabbat. The sun is shining, and I said, just let me jump on here and do, a few minutes um, on the people and the vibes and the Airbnb that we stayed in. So that's the first part, the people. I want to give a shout out to my husband. He wasn't able to make it on this trip. He kind of forced me to go. I went with a group of people that we love. We're friends. They're our mentors. And it was supposed to be a couple's trip, but stuff was happening. And I didn't want to go without him, but he wanted me to go. So he will be returning to South Africa with me. So love you, honey bunny. And I'm so grateful that he is so supportive. And I'm glad that he made me go because I had such a fantastic time. All right, so let's jump into what I thought about the people of South Africa. If you're new here, just know that I laugh at my own jokes. So I crack jokes. I think I'm funny and I'm laughing. So you know, get used to that. This is a Hebraic channel, by the way, and I do content to help you understand the Bible from a Hebraic standpoint. So this trip to South Africa, I will tie it into the Bible, but that will take place when we get to the places that we visited, all right? And why I think the people on the continent have such a calm, laid back demeanor, okay? But we'll get there. Right now, when I got to South Africa, so I traveled with one of my mentor elders, right? She's older, and we traveled and we went from North Carolina, okay, to London, stayed in London for 9 hours, and then got to Johannesburg. We were tired. So by the time we got to Johannesburg, she was trying to get another hotel just so we could get a few hours of sleep. But, you know, we had an Airbnb. However, in Tina fashion, okay, my name is Tina, by the way. In Tina fashion, I'm sitting at the airport. We get our luggage. It's sitting behind me, like this, okay? Two big luggages sitting behind me. I'm talking to my elder mentor. And I look back and one of my luggage is gone. So I go up to the desk and I'm like, somebody just stole my luggage. Do y'all have cameras? And immediately the young man and the young woman got to work. I mean, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I lost my luggage in America several times, and it always took them from 24 hours to 72 hours to get my luggage. This group of young people found my luggage in an hour and a half. Okay. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, we tired. Let's just go to the Airbnb. They probably not going to find this luggage. Honey, they have found that luggage in an hour and a half. And they would not let me leave that airport until that luggage was found. Now, I'm sitting there talking with my mentor elder, right? And people just were so attentive to us, especially her, right? And I know that from being in Ghana, that the Ghanaians honor their elders. So I believe this is just an African thing. All right. And I am in the South in North Carolina. I am from Chicago, but my parents are from the South. So I had a Southern upbringing, and we honor our elders. At least that's how many of us were raised. Now in 2026 in America, people have stopped honoring their elders. But I understand that Southern hospitality. And people say it came from slavery. I don't think so. I think we taught people how to be hospitable and how to honor their elders, right? Right? Because I'm on the continent and I'm looking at it. So they were so attentive to her. I mean, just sitting there discerning her, you know. And one of the young men, he made her get in a wheelchair because she was having some problems. He could see it. And I was like, isn't that something that he is young and paying attention to her like that? And he helped her charge her phone, and he kept going back and forth to the desk, to see what was taking so long. And they worked together and they got my luggage. A woman had thought that my luggage was her luggage, and I knew that was I had a feeling something like that was going to happen because our luggages did look similar, but my luggage was really, really huge. It's my husband's luggage that I took. And I'm like, lady, this luggage is not yours once you picked it up. But anyway, they found that luggage. They made sure we got to that Uber so that we could catch the correct Uber and go to the Airbnb. And I know that people saying, well, they just did that so they could get a tip. No, I've been I've been here for 52 years. I know when people, are doing things for money, right? Because this is not the first time I have left the country and visited other countries, all right? So I know when people are doing it for money, and I know when people are being genuine because I am an observer, especially when I go into new territories. Oh, honey, my discernment is up. I'm people watching. I'm watching, and I'm getting a feel of the atmosphere, and that's just me. That's just what I do when I travel anywhere. It could be down the street in North Carolina, all right? And I'm discerning. I'm discerning neighbors. So I'm very observant. And what I observed just over the course of our stay, whether we were in the airport, whether we were getting something to eat, whether we were getting our Airbnb and Uber, the Uber driver, poor young man, they had patience with the elders, right? So the group of people I went to, they are older than me. They are in their 60s, and they know I'm gonna put them on blast because we was laughing about it. I said, y'all, we are Americans. It is what it is. All right. And we are loud and expressive. We take up space. And the young people were so attentive and patient. I was like, back in the States, y'all would have, somebody would have said something to y'all. But just taking the time to listen to the elders, to let them work things out, right? When they're ordering food, because we have a kosher diet, so we can't eat any and everything, and trying to explain that everywhere we go. And the young people just so patient and taking the time to listen to us and to honor, what we are saying, even when we're being loud, even when the little security guard was trying to help us. I'm laughing because y'all just had to be there. If you have seen any of the Medea movies, man, I wish I had a film that one. That one right there in the mall where they went to get the car and me and Elder is standing there, and it's crazy how to get out the mall. We were on the floor that didn't have an elevator, right, to go straight out to the garage. So they had to circle around. It was just so funny with the security guard. And he was so patient. So, I'm having him laugh, and I'm like, I am so sorry. We a bit much. He's like, no, no, I just wish they would listen because they was not listening to him. But he wasn't frustrated in an angry way. He really wanted to help. And I mean, that young man helped until we got to where we were going. It was so funny. And he's seen us again in the mall. When he seen us, he was like, "Hey!" And I was like, "Yeah, you helped us." And we were laughing. Just everywhere we went, I'm trying to apologize, right? Because I'm like that. I'm more quiet. I'm on the quieter side. Even though I'm outgoing, and have a vibrant personality, I'm still more laid back. Now, my friends and my mentor, they are not. So I was like, I am so sorry. We so loud. And they were like, no, no, no. And they were trying to really help us. So that's what I appreciated. Even though we as Americans can be loud and expressive, especially our elders, you know, they were not frustrated with us. They were patient. I was watching people because I kept saying, y'all get out the way. Y'all taking up all the space. We standing in the middle of the mall talking and trying to find our way and just taking up space. And sometimes you don't know you're taking up space, especially when you're older and people just standing there waiting, to go around them. It's just the little things that I watch. Because here in America, honey, they have lost respect for their elders. I'm just saying, it is what it is. Y'all pray for us in America. We not okay. Okay, we in a war. The government is shut down, partially shut down. So that means passports, okay, is shut down. So all of people that is trying to, travel TSA, they back to quitting. They back to quitting, and the lines are long. It's a hot mess. So y'all keep us in prayer. And this is why I said, in my first video, that we are suffering from trauma, and it goes on every day sometimes, depending on uh, a state that you live in, a specific state or city, you experiencing trauma. It is what it is. So just have some patience with us, okay? Because I love my people, and I fight for my people. And I know that we are filled with trauma, and it doesn't stop, okay? Sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's weekly, sometimes it's monthly. So when we're traveling, we're taking a lot of things with us, right? So just be patient. But anyway, um, they have what I would say about South Africans is they have a quiet power. I teach that. I teach that. I am a mental wellness coach. I have a mental wellness group. I'm big into sounding the alarm on us overcoming our trauma and how trauma is genetically passed down, right? So I'm big into that. And what I notice is that South Africans operate in quiet power. They speak with a very calm, kind of low voice, not too low where you can't hear them, but low and calm, but they're assertive. Okay, they mean what they say, especially when the young man was he was pushing, our elder, and there was a gentleman, right? And he was just rushing and he almost ran over them walking with his suitcase. And that young man turned around, and we all understand the black look. It don't matter where you from, what country you live in. We all know that black look. And he turned around and I went, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he kept going. And what it showed me is that they're not pushovers, right? I just look at stuff like that. Even in the mall, we shopping, we not aware of time. We didn't know what day or time it was most days over there in South Africa, because I believe you're 7 hours ahead of us in North Carolina, and we're on Eastern time, so we didn't know what time it was. But we in the mall, and the lady, she come to me real quiet, right? She like, madam, please take your stuff up, to the front because the store is closing. And that's it. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And she younger than me. And I took my little hind parts right on up there. And it's just so funny because I understand that type of power, right? I talk about that type of power. I try to walk in that, you know. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. So the people of South Africa, what I would say is that they operate in a very quiet power. They are assertive, right? They are calm, they are welcoming, they are friendly, but don't play with them. That's just what I get from them. Don't play with them. And I appreciate that because I'm like that too. People take me for granted. They think, I'm calm, I'm bubbly, I'm laughing, I'm a small woman. But honey, don't play with me. You're gonna find out real quick. Don't play with me, right? So I love that about South Africans. So that's just my personal take. People may have a difference of opinion, but I spent 12 days there just really talking with the people. So quiet power, assertive, calm, caring, friendly, right? But don't play with them. Do not. All right, so let's talk about the Airbnb. So we stayed in Santon, which put us smack dab in the middle of everything. And I am showing pictures, all right, so you all can see in the video of our Airbnb. And it was fantastic. We chose that Airbnb and it lived up. We got some minor critiques, when we were there, the lights did go off, because she didn't pay up the electricity. So you have to prepay in Africa. I know in Ghana you have to prepay, and so it is in South Africa. So, they already warned us right before we chose that Airbnb, to kind of pay attention to the electricity. But we Americans, we're not paying attention to it, right? And one of the elders said, "We heard it beep. I heard it beep." But again, we don't know what we're doing. So they came over and she put the tokens, I guess, on there, and but we didn't know how to put it in the little box. So she had to have one of the maintenance people come over and she put the tokens in and show us how to do it. We were trying, but that was only a minor critique, and it wasn't a deal breaker. It really wasn't. Um, so we really enjoyed that Airbnb. It was close to a lot of things, and our Airbnb in Cape Town. We wish we spent more time in Cape Town. We'll know next time because we're all like, we're coming back. We are coming back. But in Cape Town, we were going to Cape Agulhas, which I'll talk about in another video, the southern tip of Africa, where the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean meet. So we went to Cape Town. Oh man, we really love Cape Town. And that Airbnb that faced the mountain, tabletop mountain, man, we all could live there and look at that scenery all day long. And the Airbnb was beautiful. Do you hear me? And I hope you can see the video that I'm showing, but it was beautiful and it was reasonably priced for us as Americans. All right. And so we just noticed like the cost. Um, if you didn't know, our $1 American dollar equals 16 point something rands. Okay. So our dollar stretches. And so I think we just got a lot for our money there. Whether it was, the only thing that cost that we didn't like was that airplane ticket, right? That's in American dollars. But everything else was pretty price effective, right, for us, cost effective. No complaints with that. But the Airbnb, our places to stay, we didn't really have any complaints. All right. It was beautiful. You just have to be careful about where you're staying and take your time and choose. Right. So we loved being in Santon in that Airbnb. That I even did Uber Eats in the Airbnb. It was great. It was secure, right? It was secure. I felt safe. We felt safe. And I'll talk about that when we visited Soweto. Um, and one of the elders there that we were talking to, we were buying some items from her. And she was telling us how Soweto was the safest place, right? And I believe her. I believe her. And it was just so beautiful how she gave us her phone number, y'all. She was telling us that she wanted us to come back and she would show us around and cook us traditional meals. So, we didn't have any traditional meals, but that wasn't a deal breaker for me because we know that we could have found the traditional meals. All you have to do is involve yourself with the natives that are there. So if we wanted to, we could have got with the elder and she would have cooked us a meal if we had stayed in Cape Town a little longer and showed us around. So that's what I mean. Just very hospitable people. The Uber driver, oh man, he took us down what we would call in America to the hood. And I'm from Chicago, okay? I live in North Carolina, but I am originally from Chicago, okay? So we have hoods and projects. So we understood. But he couldn't really speak English. And we were like, okay, this the scenic route, right, to the airport because we were going to Cape Town. And even though the communication, was jacked up, it really was our fault. We didn't put in the correct address. And because he didn't really know English, communication just got crossed up. But he was so patient. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go off and have an attitude with us. He was just trying to explain to us. And it really was our fault. And I'm grateful that that young man, has so much patience. So that's something that I really enjoy about the South Africans. They are patient, especially with us. I don't know if it was because we, are older, especially the people, that I traveled with were older, but they had a tremendous amount of respect and honor for their elders, patient, calm and assertive. All right, so that is my take on the people of South Africa and our Airbnb. So next we'll talk about the places that we went, the safari, Cape Agulhas, and the dining. The dining was spectacular. All right, so I'm gonna get on off of here, and go relax this Shabbat afternoon and follow me to see part 2 of my trip to South Africa. Shalom.